Hi everyone, it's been a very long time since I filmed the video. I think it's been like a couple months, but I am finally back and I am here to talk about my top 20 most anticipated books for 2024. Okay, starting off at number one, we have So Let Them Burn, and this is by Kamala Cole. This is coming out January 16th, 2024. So the description says, whip smart and immersive, the Jamaican-inspired fantasy follows a God's blessed heroine who's forced to choose between saving her sister or protecting her homeland. And what year was that? Like 2021, I think it was. I read Witches Steeped in Gold, which I believe it was about two opposing families, and they were fighting for land also. So I wonder if this is gonna follow a similar premise or it's gonna be very different. I'm intrigued. I always love to find Jamaican authors, like Caribbean authors in general, to read from, and this is a fantasy book. I love fantasy, so I'm very excited to see where this is going to go. This is young adult. The tags that are there are like LGBTQ, dragons, lesbians, queer, young adult fantasy, and so on and so forth. So I'm excited to see what this is about. I love this cover. Gorgeous colors. I love a good cover, but when like the plot is backing it up, it adds a little something, you know, a little something. Okay, moving on to book number two, and that's The Things We Didn't Know by Elba Iris Perez. Okay, so that's coming out February 6th. And this one has a little blurb saying, the inaugural winner of Simon & Schuster's Books Like Us contest, Elba Iris Perez's lyrical, cross-cultural, coming-of-age debut novel explores a young girl's childhood between 1950s Puerto Rico and a small Massachusetts factory town. This is historical fiction, adult fiction. That's the tags on it. I'm not really a historical fiction girly, but after reading a couple historical fictions in 2022 and 2023, I have come to be intrigued. But I think I would like this based off of what the storyline is about. Like, I don't know. I'm intrigued. Okay, moving on to number three, which is A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. And this is also coming out February 6th. If you were here, what was it, last year, I think I did make a little video about this. I don't know if I made a little snippet in a video about this book, but if you were here last year when I was reading this book and saw how obsessed I became with this author, you would understand why Tia Williams is on this list. Love Tia Williams. My only thing is Netflix really did not do her justice. I have to finish reading A Perfect Find, but the movie was just atrocious. Netflix, stop putting your hands on things. I can't trust Netflix. It's a love-hate relationship. It's like a wild card. And yeah. But besides that, I really love Tia Williams' work. So I'm excited to see what this is about. She's been hyping it up. I'm always here for a romance. From the New York Times bestselling author of 7 Days in June, A Love Song for Ricky Wilde is an epic love story 100 years in the making. And that's where they leave it. It's a little snippet. It's a little... And the genres, of course, is romance, fiction, contemporary adult, contemporary romance, historical fiction, and historical. So number four is An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson. Love S.T. Gibson. If you have read A Dowry of Blood, you would know about the lyrical, the vivid, the amazing writing that S.T. Gibson has. One of the best retellings I have read in the most recent years. Love S.T. Gibson's work. I annotated the whole book. Love A Dowry of Blood. So I'm very excited for this S.T. Gibson book. Tumultuous and Addictive, An Education in Malice is a dark academia tale of blood, secrets, and insatiable hungers from Sunday Times bestselling author S.T. Gibson, author of a cult hit, A Dowry of Blood, and is. Deep in the forgotten hills of Massachusetts stands St. Perpetua College, isolated and ancient. It is not a place for timid girls. Here, secrets are currency, ambition is lifeblood, and strange ceremonies welcome students into the fold. I'm just leave it there. So the tags are fantasy, horror, gothic, vampires, romance, adult, lesbian, and those are some of the tags. Tuned all the way in. So now following that showstopper is another showstopper, which is The Book of Doors by Garrett Brown, and this is coming out February 13th. Oh, I forgot to say, An Education in Malice is coming out February 15th. And this is a fantasy fiction, magical realism, romance, adult like book. A short little synopsis that they gave us is: if you could open a door to anywhere, where would you go? Grabbed. In New York City, bookseller Cassie Andrews is living an unassuming life when she is given a gift by a favorite customer. It's a book, an unusual book, full of strange writing and mysterious drawings. And at the very front, there is a handwritten message to Cassie telling her that this book is of doors and that any door is every door. But the Book of Doors is not the only magical book in the world. There are other books that can be wondrous and dreadful things when wielded by dangerous and ruthless individuals who crave what Cassie now possesses. Suddenly, Cassie and Izzy are confronted by violence and danger, and the only person who can help them, it seems, Drummond Fox. He is a man fleeing his own demons, a man with his own secret library of magical books that he has hidden away in shadows for safekeeping because there is a nameless evil out there that is hunting them all. So when I look this up, I love to go to articles or I love to go to people's Instagrams where they recommend books. And I saw that the publisher that reviewed this book said that they were comparing it to The Night Circus. Period. So when I saw the illicit, amazing, like, you know, very verbose description on how this book is similar to Night Circus, I was just like, you know what, let me tune in. Then now reading this description, I understand why it's being compared that way, because the magic systems are very kind of like similar, you can say. So I'm very excited to see what this is about. I love a good strong opening sentence. Like the way this is, I'm grabbed. So I'm gonna assume that the opening sentence for the book is gonna be just as strong, or maybe even the dedication. So I'm very excited for that. The next book is A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but this book is coming out February 20th. And love the cover. I don't know, every single book that I've chosen has a beautiful cover in my opinion. Love it. Even if they're simple, even if they're different vibes, they all are beautiful. And I just love when authors have exceptionally beautiful covers. So this is a fantasy, young adult, vampires, historical fiction, paranormal kind of books. Those are some of the tags. And from Hafsa Fazal, New York Times best-selling author of We Hunt the Flame, which I have not read, but I've heard great things about that book, comes the first book in hotly anticipated new fantasy duology about an orphan girl and her crew who get tangled in a heist with vampires. Perfect for fans of Leigh Bardugo's Six of Crows. And now y'all see how I ended up here. As we all know, I love Six of Crows. I read a Six of Crows when I first started my channel and I loved it. I love a good heist. I don't know, like, what's the show on Money Heist on Netflix? Love it. I love a good heist. I don't know, the angst, the drama, seeing who's gonna turn on whom, who is going to give up first, who's going to lose their mental battle, their emotional battle, like, you know, just the drama of it all. So, or even like just to see the inner workings of a genius, like how, like, for example, Kaz Brecker, his mind, like he was coming up with some elaborate plans that a lot of people wouldn't have thought of. So on to the next book, and this book is also coming out on the 20th, and this book is Hours by Philip B. Williams. Gorgeous cover. The cover is actually what drew me in. So the tags are historical fiction, fantasy, race, adult, and fiction, and that's some of the tags. And the little synopsis that they have is an epic novel set in mid-19th century America about the spiritual cost of a freedom that demands fierce protection. That's not the review that got me, but basically that's about it. Yeah. So I'm excited to get into this. I love to see Black authors do historical fiction in this way. So Tender Beast by Lyselle Sambury is coming out February 27th. This book is a young adult horror, fantasy, mystery thriller, contemporary. Those are some of the tags. I really have been feeling the young adult thriller and mystery books. I think, like, I don't know, there's a certain like fun vibe to it when it's like high schoolers or middle schoolers solving a mystery. I don't know, maybe because I've been a Scooby-Doo fan since I could walk. I think maybe I've been trapped in that world, and I really love the vibe of like kids solving things and adults not believing them, and you know, that kind of vibe. And then the kids turn out being right, and then the adults have to say like, oh wow, I didn't think that was possible. Yeah, I don't know, I like that. For example, the 1994, those movies, 1996, whatever, Scare Street series on Netflix, really loved that. The high schoolers trying to solve a mystery of the towns, because it was split into two. I like that vibe. I really do. I love a good kid solving mysteries moment, and then seeing how genius they can be, or how like witty they can be, because you always have your witty character like Shaggy or Scooby that are gonna be so funny and have a great time while solving the mystery, even though they're totally scared. So I just really like that vibe. I really think it's a fun time. So I've been enjoying the mystery thriller young adult section because it's just really funny. It's really fun. It's a little lighthearted. It can be dark. This book sounds dark, but I think that there's a certain touch to it that when adults are solving mysteries that they can't do. Serious and monotone when it's an adult doing a like mystery solving, unless it's Agatha Christie. But yeah. So the little synopsis is: after her private school is rocked by a gruesome murder, a teen tries to find the real killer and clear her brother's name in the psychological thriller perfect for fans of the taking of Jake Livingston and Ace of Spades. Coming up to number 9, we have Thanks for Having Me, and this is by Emma Darg, and that's also coming out February 27th. This is a fiction piece consisting of interwoven stories about 3 generations of women in one family as they navigate girlhood, motherhood, and selfhood. Perfect for fans of Jennifer Egan or Meg Mazin and Paige Clark, a truly original novel about maternal ambivalence, the ferocity of maternal love, and what binds us to our sisters. And this is somebody's review on the book, so I don't know if this review will hold up to the book itself, like, because everybody has their opinion. I don't know if it's gonna be mirroring the book at all, but I will take it at face value for now. And so I'm very excited to see what this is about. I love a good book that highlights the importance of female friendships. Yeah, I really love when it's like we as women need to stick together, we as women need to depend on each other, because I feel like a lot of media and stuff always tries to pin us against each other, especially when it's a cheating trope or something. So I really like when there's authors trying to reinforce the bond between women. So that really just drew me in. And again, the cover was beautiful. It had like this rose petal, or was it dripping blood, I don't remember, but the letters were in like this really bold red. But I don't think that's the final cover because it's not on every website. It's not on Goodreads. It's not on Booktopia. It's not on a couple websites. So I think there's about like 2 different versions of the covers. So we will see. Following that, we are at number 10. We're halfway there. Lore of the Wilds by Anile Sabrana. And this is also coming out February 27th. And this is a stunning romantasy debut about an enchanted library, 2 handsome fae, and 1 human who brings them all together. A library with a deadly enchantment. A fae lord who wants in, a human woman willing to risk it all for the taste of power. And the tags are fantasy romance, young adult, fae, magic, and those are some of the tags. I have been looking for a black version of some of the most popular fae books out there, and there are some, but they're not adult. They're usually young adult, and I wanted to find one that was adult, so I was hyped. I saw this and I was hyped. I was reading the article and I was like, finally the adults are in the game for romantasy, and I was just like, I was hyped. I was like, somebody's listening to me, somebody's hearing me. So I'm very excited for this. The cover, gorgeous. The hair, the two love interests behind the wood. I really love For the Woods by Hannah Witten. So when I saw this, I don't know, I was kind of reminded of that because she ended up with the wolf in a library in that book, and the whole chapters about the library were some of my favorite personally. So if this is based around the whole library, I'm in, because Beauty and the Beast, the library scenes were also my favorite. So like I don't know, like something about libraries in fantasy, it really like tickles me pink, I guess, because I be giggly. So now on to number 11, which is Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Farida Abike Iyamidi. I hope I did not butcher that. And this is coming out March 14th. This author is the author of Ace of Spades. Gorgeous, lovely. And now she's back again. She's back in. Hello. And the promotion for this book, stunning. I love this cover. This is probably my top 5, top 3 even, favorite covers out of all of these 20 books. Stunning. The bird positioning, the dripping with the, whoever made this cover. And the tags are young adult, mystery, mystery thriller, contemporary thriller, LGBTQ, lesbian. And those are some of the tags. And I'm gonna do a quick piece of the synopsis because it's a long one. In Where Sleeping Girls Lie, a YA contemporary mystery by Farida Abike Iyamedi, the New York Times bestselling author of Ace of Spades, a girl new to boarding school discovers dark secrets and cover-ups after her roommate disappears. You got me. I'm wondering if this is also dark academia like Ace of Spades, because that would be amazing. So I'm very excited to see what this is about. Like, anytime somebody's trying to find somebody that went missing, it leads to a lot of stuff. So I'm excited to see how this sequence is going to go. Is it going to be the typical sequence of this person ends up missing too, or they end up in a cult? You know, is it going to be typical, or is it going to be something new, interesting, or even a spin on the typical cliche kind of trying to find a missing person in a school or a college, you know, kind of setting. So I'm excited to see what this is about. Always gonna ride. Always got my attention. There's nothing she can't do. Next up is Who's Afraid of Gender, and this is by Judith Butler. And this is coming out March 19th. This is a nonfiction, feminism, queer, LGBTQ, politics, gender, and sociology. Those are some of the tags kind of vibe. And from a global icon, a bold, essential account of how a fear of gender is fueling reactionary politics around the world. So I was kind of like, I need to read more nonfiction because I love a good biography, but I also need to step into other zones and try other stuff. So I was just like, let me go for a straight nonfiction, like straight up nonfiction. And this caught my eye. I can't lie, I was intrigued. I think that the synopsis really did it for me, and the reviews by the publishers of the articles really did it for me. So I'm excited to see what this is about. I don't want to know much more. I think like a little snippet here and there really is enough for me. I want to see how this person's going to take on this. And when people say feminism, I expect a lack of intersectionality as a Black woman, because feminism within itself as a whole never really was for Black people. And I could go into depth about this because Black women have always been working, even in the Caribbean, even in South America, even in so on and so forth. You know, it wasn't just in North America, but specifically here, when the whole feminist movement had started, Black women were already working. They were slaves. They were, you know? So when I hear feminism, I don't know, I take a little bit of, I take it with a grain of salt. I step back a bit because this could go about two ways. So we'll see if there's some intersectionality or if it lacks the depth that is needed. So I'm very excited for this either way. Okay, this one is poetry, and I have been wanting to read more poetry, especially from Caribbean authors. I have heard a lot of great reviews about Caribbean author poetry, and so I wanted to read more from them, but I really didn't find any for this year's like debuts. So if y'all have any recommendations, leave them down below. Even if they're not debuting anything this year, I still want to tune in and see if there's anything that I like. So this is Florida Water, and this is by Aja Monet. It's coming out this year in physical form, but it had already been released last year on Kindle. So yeah, it's not really new, but the physical version is. And this is inspired by the cleansing water often used in spiritual baths. Florida Water is an ode to the myriad ways a poem can rinse, reflect, reveal, and unravel us. And I was hooked. That's all I needed to hear. Like, I was hooked. I love how poetry can really hold a mirror to your face sometimes and have you understand yourself a whole lot better. So sometimes I just feel like that's my therapy session of reading poetry, because it allows you to really truly reflect, because sometimes the author is speaking to you, you know? Sometimes it is. So when I saw this and I saw the title and I saw the synopsis and what the purpose of the poems were supposed to be for, I was just really intrigued, because that's exactly why I read poetry. That's exactly why I love poetry. So I'm ready to tune in. And if I really like this, I'm going to check out more of Aja Monet's poetry. So very excited. And of course, I have to include one of my favorite authors, which is Hannah Witten, which I mentioned earlier, of course. And she's coming out with the second book to the Foxglove King. And I believe this is going to be a trilogy, as she said. Yeah, I think she's continuing with the trilogy thing, because she had said at the book signing that she didn't know if it was going to be a duology or a trilogy yet. She was just going to see where it goes. And so it looks like it's going to be a trilogy. And so Hemlock Queen is coming out on April 9th. And I forgot to say, but Aja Monet's book is coming out February 26th. So Hemlock Queen is coming out April 9th, and I'm very excited for this. In the second installment of New York Times bestselling author Hannah Witten's lush, romantic, epic fantasy series, a young woman who can raise the dead must navigate the dangerous and glamorous world of the sainted king's royal court. And the tags are fantasy, adult, romance, magic, fiction, fantasy, romance, new adult. So very excited. I feel like Hannah Witten has a special touch when it comes to fantasy that I haven't really seen from a couple authors that I really truly love. Like, I want to see depth in the writing just as much as I want to see amazing plot, amazing love story, You know, I don't just want world building. I don't just want the characters to fall in love. I don't just want there to be fights and stuff. I want depth. And I feel like Sabaa Tahir and Hannah Witten really do that for me. There's a lot more authors like what's her name? Laini Taylor, that really also touches on that a lot. I feel like I want to find more authors that fall within that line where it doesn't have to be overly complex. It just has to have enough depth in it that it captures me and has me like at the edge of my seat. So I really love how Hannah Witten writes. I think that even in the simplest of moments, there's a lot of depth. So definitely want to find more authors like that. So moving on to the next one, and we are at number 15, so 5 more to go. And this is The Familiar by Leah Bardugo, which is also coming out April 9th. And the tags are fantasy, historical romance, historical fiction, historical fantasy, adult, and those are some of the tags. And it says, from the New York Times bestselling author of Ninth House, Hellbent, and creator of the Grishaverse series, comes a highly anticipated historical fantasy set during the Spanish Golden Age. And I'm just going to stop there. I think that this could be a hit or miss for me. I love Leigh Bardugo's books. I am not going to say I don't like anything from Leigh Bardugo, because I never had an experience with Leigh Bardugo's books where I was just like, ew. I don't have a bad book on a list for her, like a bad book list. I don't have it for Leigh Bardugo. But the synopsis for this has me a little bit like iffy about like this book. So I really hope my mind is leaning towards good more than bad when I finally read it. But for now, I'm a little scared. I will not lie. So yeah, I'm have an open mind though. So the next book is Accidental Blooms by Keiko Honda, and this is coming out April 19th. So this is about a scientist at Columbia University who abruptly loses all the strength in her legs. Within hours, she can barely breathe. She soon discovers that she is permanently paralyzed from the chest down due to a rare autoimmune disease with a frequency of approximately 1 case per million per year. And then we follow her disability story. Yeah, I'm excited to see what this is about. As I said, I want to read a lot more nonfiction, and this is a autobiography, I believe, or a biography, I don't know, but it's translated, and I will never forget Winter in Sukcho. I will never forget Winter in Sukcho. I don't like translated pieces. I wish I knew every language because I can't stand horrible translations. I think it would be nice if I just could just twist the knob in my brain and then I speak Japanese or understand Japanese, or speak French and understand French, whatever. Because I can't with the horrible translations. Like, it's so confusing. And for somebody's life story and their struggle and their experience to be translated and then it's mistranslated, that would piss me off. So I'm hoping this is not a bad translation, but I'm scared. So so the next one is Kill Her Twice by Stacey Lee, and this is coming out April 23rd. And this is a Los Angeles 1932 Lulu Wang, star of the silver screen and the pride of Chinatown, has a face known to practically anyone, especially to the Chow sisters, May, Gemma, and Peony. Lulu's former classmates and neighbors, so the girls instantly know it's Lulu, whose body they discover one morning in and out of the way stable, far from the Beverly Hills mansion where she moved once her fame skyrocketed. So, I'm trying to remember what book this reminds me of, but basically we're watching friends try to catch a killer. It's giving kind of like a Final Girl kind of vibe. They might die trying to catch their friend's killer. So listen, I love a good Final Girl moment. I love the girls gather up, strap up with their boots and stuff, and you know, put on their little knives and guns and whatever, and they ready to catch a killer. I love that kind of vibe. I'm here for it every single time. Like, I'm gonna eat it up, like, every time. So I'm excited to see where this is gonna go. The tags are young adult, historical fiction, mystery thriller. So you already know I'm ready to devour this book. I'm excited. So the next book is The Dead Cat Tales Assassin, and this is by Djali Clark. Listen, y'all, the cover. I don't know how many times I'm going to say this. Keep a count. The tags are fantasy, adult, novella, science fiction, science fiction, fantasy, and short stories. I am not, as we have come to terms and come to find out, not really truly a fan of science fiction books. Love the films, love the video essays on these films, on these books even. But for some reason, the books don't move me. Some books do, some books don't. So we'll see. We'll see about this one. I'm giving it another try. Y'all clap. I'm giving it another try. The dead cattails assassins are not cats, nor do they have tails, but they are most assuredly dead. Nebula and Alex award-winning P. Djeli Clark introduces a brand new world and a fantastical city full of gods and assassins. Love. I don't know why my brain immediately went to Cats the musical when these two things do not correlate, but for some reason my mind did that. Just point and laugh, y'all. Point and laugh. So now we're moving on to the second to last book, and this is Blue Sisters by Coco Malors. And this is coming out June 6th. And the tags are contemporary fiction, adult, literary fiction, and family. Blue Sisters tells the story of three exceptionally different sisters as they return to their family home in New York from their respective lives in Paris, London, and LA. In the wake of the death of their beloved fourth sister, as they are reunited whilst attempting to cope with their terrible loss, they must navigate addiction, grief, and ambition and learn what it takes to fall in love with life again. This reminds me of Mary H.K. Choi's Yoke, and also what's her name? But it reminds me of The Inheritance also. Love that book. Y'all watched me cry on camera, so y'all know I love that book. Her name is something Cordova. Zoraida Cordova's The Inheritance. Love, love, love that book. I think this has a similar vibe, but a little bit more on the Yoke side. So like a little less fantasy, a little less magic, more so like Yoke, where it's just like sisters trying so hard to navigate through like death, illness, and so on and so forth. And they're both coming back from their places at which they stay and trying to come together as a family and understand everything that's going on. The absence of people, loss, all of that. So I think those two books combined together are really what's like selling this book for me, really truly. The book itself is great, but for some reason it's reminding me of those two books, which is adding on to that, is what I'm saying. So I'm excited to see what this is about. Like, it's really sounding very complex, and I love complexity. I love a great book that tackles grief very well, and also that, as I said, talks about the strengthening of female bonds. I really do love that vibe. So I'm very excited to see what this is about. And then we have our final book, which is A Crane Among Wolves by Jane Her. And this is coming out May 14th. This book has been up and down my For You page, up and down my Instagram Explore page, up and down my Instagram follow page. I haven't seen not one person tell me what this book is truly about. But I've seen people discuss the cover countless times. Seen people say, wow, this cover, it's a gorgeous cover, but like, what is the book about? So I finally decided to do it myself. Fine, I'll do it myself, and I did. This is a historical fiction, young adult fantasy, romance, mystery. Pause. And basically it's set in Joseon, 1506. And this is about the cruel reign of a tyrant king. And these people are powerless because the king is trying to commandeer their land for his use, for his he want to do what he want. If he want to build a whole palace on it, that's what he want to do. The people are fed up. So he's banning and burning books and kidnapping and horrifically abusing women and girls as his personal playthings. And then here comes along our heroines, Isul and Daehyun, and their fates end up colliding. Their contempt for each other is transcended only by their mutual hate for the king. So we love a good moment where the characters hate each other, but they come together because the enemy of my enemy. Pause. Armed with Isol's family connections and Daehyun's royal access, they reluctantly join forces to launch the riskiest gamble the kingdom has ever seen. Save her sister, free the people, destroy a tyrant. And that's just my synopsis of the synopsis. I will be tuned in. I had to go and see what this book was about myself. I'm glad I did, because the cover is not the real tea. The cover is not the real tea. The real tea is within the synopsis. Y'all gotta read the synopsises. You got to tune in. When the authors are giving you the perfect cover, you also got to tune into the synopsis. You got to tune into the plot. You got to pay attention to what is actually truly going on. The real tea. Because this book, yeah, I would like to read that. I would like to tune in because it sounded like a vibe to me. This is also giving that kind of money heist energy, but not truly. I'm excited to see the characters' geniuses. I'm excited to see how they're going to use their power, their connections, their skills, whatever, to achieve their goal. I'm ready. I'm tuned all the way in. And then some special mentions that didn't make the top 20 list is Just Happy to Be Here by Naomi Kanakia. And this came out January 2nd. And then there's Martyr by Kava Akbar. And this is coming out January 23rd. The synopsis was beautiful. Excited. I Heard Her Calling My Name, a memoir of transition by Lucy Sante. And this is coming out February 13th. Also another beautiful synopsis. I was moved, loved. What a mouthful. What a mouthful. But we are done. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Tell me how y'all New Year's was. What are your goals for 2024? What are your reading goals? Like, what you got? 100 books? 20? 40? 10? 5? Like, what are you planning to read? Who are in your top 10, top 20, top 5, top 15 even for most anticipated books? So yeah, that's it. So see y'all next time. Bye.
Unpleasant dreams.